Self-contradictions of the Bible. Number 22. Does God know and see everything? God sees and knows all things. God knows everything. God, knoweth all things. 1 John 3:20. He's a mind reader. No thought can be withheld from thee. Job 42:2. He knows the secrets of everyone's heart, for he knoweth the secrets of the heart. Psalm 44:21. Thou, Lord, which knowest the hearts of all men. Acts 1:24. You can't hide from God, he's everywhere. Whither shall I flee from thy presence? If I ascend up into heaven, thou art there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, thou art there. Psalm 139, 7-8. Can any hide himself in secret places that I shall not see him? Saith the Lord, do not I fill heaven and earth? Jeremiah 23:24. His eyes are everywhere, he can see everything. The eyes of the Lord are in every place. Proverbs 15:3. For mine eyes are upon all their ways. They are not hid from my face, neither is their iniquity hid from mine eyes. Jeremiah 16:17. In contradiction to, there are some things that God doesn't know and can't see. God couldn't see Adam and Eve when they hid in the Garden of Eden. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord amongst the trees of the garden. And the Lord God called unto Adam and said, Where art thou? Genesis 3:8-9. And after Cain killed Abel, he hid in the land of Nod from the face of God. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid. And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod, on the east of Eden. Genesis 4:14-16. God came down to see the Tower of Babel. Parentheses. He couldn't see it from where he was sitting. End parentheses. And they said, Go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. The Lord came down to see the city and the tower. Genesis 11:4-5. When God and his friends visited Abraham, they didn't know where Sarah was. The Lord appeared unto him, Abraham, in the plains of Mamre, and he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. And he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him. And they said unto him, Where is Sarah thy wife? And he said, Behold, in the tent. Genesis 18:1-9. As God pondered murdering everyone in Sodom and Gomorrah, he asked himself, Shall I hide from Abraham the thing that I do? And the Lord said, Shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do? Genesis 18:17. God had to come down to Sodom to see if the Sodomites were as bad as he'd heard. And the Lord said, Because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which has come unto me. And if not, I will know. Genesis 18:20-21. God didn't know that Abraham feared God until Abraham showed his willingness to murder his son for God. For now I know that thou fearest God, seeing that thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me. Genesis 22:12. After God lost a wrestling match with Jacob, he asked Jacob his name. Parentheses, God didn't know who he was wrestling with. End parentheses, and he, brackets God, end brackets, said unto him, brackets Jacob, end brackets, What is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel, for as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and hast prevailed. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face. Genesis 32:27-30. Before opening the mouth of Balaam's ass. Numbers 22:28-20. He asked Balaam, Who were the men that were with him? And God said unto Balaam, and said, What men are these with thee? Numbers 22:9. God led the Israelites for 40 years on a trip that should have taken a few weeks, so that he could know what was in their hearts. God led these 40 years in the wilderness, to know what in thine heart. Deuteronomy 8:2. God didn't know if the Israelites would obey him or not. Through them I may prove Israel whether they will keep the way of the Lord to walk therein. as their fathers did keep it or not. Judges 2:22. If a prophet or dreamer of dreams tells you to worship other gods, kill him. God sends guys like that every now and then to see if you love him enough. If there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and giveth thee a sign or a wonder, and the sign or the wonder come to pass, whereof he spake unto thee, saying, Let us go after other gods, which thou hast not known, and let us serve them, thou shalt not hearken unto the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams. For the Lord your God proveth you to know whether ye love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. Ellipsis mark, and that prophet or that dreamer of dreams shall be put to death. The Lord your God proveth you to know whether ye love the Lord your God. Deuteronomy 13:3. God has tested Hezekiah to see what is in his heart. God left him, brackets Hezekiah, and brackets, to try him, that he might know all that was in his heart. 2 Chronicles 32:31. Before God and Satan played their cruel game with the lives of Job and his family, God asked Satan what he'd been up to lately. The Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. Job 1:7-2. The Israelites set up kings and princes without God's knowledge. They, brackets the Israelites, and brackets, have set up kings, but not by me. They have made princes, and I knew it not. Hosea 8:4. Jonah tried to hide himself from the presence of the Lord by sailing to Tarshish, but God sent a storm that scared the sailors, who knew that Jonah was running away from God's presence. But Jonah rose up to flee unto Tarshish from the presence of the Lord, and went down to Joppa, and he found a ship going to Tarshish. So he paid the fare thereof, and he went down into it to go with them unto Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. But the Lord sent out a great wind into the sea. There was a mighty tempest in the sea, so that the ship was like to be broken. Ellipsis mark. Then were the men exceedingly afraid, and said unto him, Why hast thou done this? For the men knew that he fled from the presence of the Lord, because he had told them. Jonah 1:3-10. Here's the 23rd self-contradiction of the Bible. Is everyone descended from Adam and Eve? Yes, everyone is descended from Adam and Eve. And Adam called his wife's name Eve, because she was the mother of all living. Genesis 3:20. In contradiction to, no, some are not. Melchizedek just appeared without father or mother, so he wasn't descended from Adam and Eve. Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of the Most High God, was without father, without mother, without descent, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, but made like unto the Son of God, abideth a priest continually. Hebrews 7:3. The Nephilim were the giant offspring of the sons of God, parentheses, angels, question mark, end parentheses, and the daughter of men, so they weren't descended entirely from Adam and Eve. The sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair. They took them wives of all which they chose. Ellipsis mark. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. Genesis 6:2-4. And at least some of the Nephilim survived the flood, according to the book of Numbers. Parentheses, see the NIV translation below, in parentheses. So maybe there are still some giant offspring of God's sons around today. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. Numbers 13:33. We saw the Nephilim there. Parenthesis, the descendants of Anak come from the Nephilim, end parentheses, we seem like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we look the same to them. New International Version. Number 24, the 24th self-contradiction of the Bible. Does God respect anyone? God has respect for some people. God has respect for Abel, parentheses, because he killed and sacrificed some animals for him, end parentheses, but not for Cain, parentheses, who only offered God some veggies, end parentheses. Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord, and Abel he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. The Lord had respect unto Abel, but unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect. Genesis 4:3-5. He had respect for the Israelites. God looked upon the children of Israel, and God had respect unto them. Exodus 2:25. And 5 of you shall chase, and 100 of you shall put 10,000 to flight. Your enemies shall fall before you by the sword. For I will have respect unto you, and make you fruitful, and multiply you, and establish my covenant with you. Leviticus 26:9. The children of Israel sighed by reason of the bondage, and they cried, and their cry came up unto God by reason of the bondage, and God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob, and God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. God looked upon the children of Israel, and God had respect unto them. 2 Kings 13:23-25. He has respect for the lowly. Though the Lord be high, yet hath he respect for the lowly. Psalm 138:6. In contradiction to God respects no one. For the Lord your God, ellipsis mark, regardeth not persons. Deuteronomy 10:17. For there is no iniquity with the Lord our God, nor respect of persons. 2 Chronicles 19:7. God is no respecter of persons. Acts 10:34. For there is no respect of persons with God. Romans 2:11. God accepteth no man's person. Galatians 2:6. Neither there is there respect of persons with him. Ephesians 6:9. There is no respect of persons. Colossians 3:25. And if ye call upon the Father, who without respect of persons judgeth according to every man's work. 1 Peter 1:17.